What's up, guys? Facebook Live. Here we are. We're in part 3 of the Inquisition release party. Scott Hale was just on. Thanks, Scott. That was awesome reading. I appreciate you coming on, presenting your stuff. We got to meet your beautiful new wife. She was awesome to meet. Her artwork is great, and your writings are great. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So, here we are. Welcome everybody back. We're in part 3. We're gonna go as long as till I finish doing the reading later. Chapter 20. Tenor Wolfgang versus a vampire. It's gonna be quite exciting stuff. But in this live studio tonight, we have very special guests. We got 2 of them. My lovely wife-to-be, Diana, and my lovely daughter, London. And we're going to go talk to them real quick before we get started, okay? I'm going to lower the music here. So enjoy. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free. And there's one of our cats right there. That's Dr. Faustus. Alright, so here we got the lovely Diana.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Good.
So, did you want to say something about Inquisition or anything particularly?
Yeah, it's an amazing read. If you guys like the first one, you will definitely like the second one quite a bit. You see more of the relationship between Kronklich and Wolfgang, which is my favorite because I'm obsessed with Kronklich. Not because the guy who wrote the book is my soon-to-be husband, but I too love his writing. Because you sit there and question everything. Not all the information is given to you like a lot of books are today, where you learn the backstory and all that. This book is pretty much present, and you have to, you're asking questions all the time, like, why is this happening? When did this happen? Or what's gonna happen next? You're always guessing, which is my favorite thing when I read books. Another favorite thing is that the main character is a male, which today in a lot of books is females, which gets kind of tiring. Also, it's just, I don't know, the reading is quick. You're not stopping, getting bored. You don't, when you put it down, you want to keep going. You don't want to stop. And you never know what's going to come up next, which is the best. I hope you guys truly do enjoy it. I mean, it's one of my favorites out of the 2. Like I said, because Kronklich and Wolfgang, their relationship is more there. And I love it. It reminds me of I call him Nugget, my Nugget's relationship with his good buddy. He who knows who he is. If you're watching, Nick.
Well, he's not watching right now.
Oh.
That's okay.
So definitely read it. I think it's an amazing book. I did some artwork in it. I'm not as good as Scott's wife. Definitely not. She's an amazing artist.
I see a trend here going on.
Oh, like what?
Our wives are doing artwork.
Yeah.
While we're doing all the writing.
I'm not that good.
Chrissy Moon says hi to you and to London. And Scott says his wife says you are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You are too. I loved your wedding dress, by the way. Your whole wedding attire was so pretty. The fur little coat thing you had.
And Janice is on. Hi, Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Rick Peters is on. Hi, Rick.
Hi.
And Robert Sushi is on. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Rob.
So do you have any other things you want to say, or?
Buy the book. Definitely worth it. Yeah, I mean, so far, this is my favorite one. He didn't let me read any of it until it became published. And let's see, I can't wait for the third one. I'm like you guys, I know nothing about it because he doesn't tell me anything. He doesn't tell me much about his writings. I just see him typing away and thinking. Yeah. And I just get told to draw stuff. And that's about it. But I truly hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys enjoy this whole podcast. What's it called?
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a online person, sorry.
That's okay.
I don't have any of this stuff. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy his reading, and he's gonna read an awesome chapter for you guys. And yeah, I mean,
all right,
that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for indulging us in your thoughts there. And this is another one of our editions, Cat.
This is his favorite.
This is Trixie Bella. She's usually she's very talkative, but tonight she's very
shy.
quiet.
She's on camera.
All right, so our next guest is Miss London.
Hi.
This is my daughter. How you doing, London?
I'm good.
Yeah? All right. Are you here to support your dad's work?
Yes.
All
I've
right.
never read the book before, but I think that it would be really good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Scott, my good friend Scott, says he didn't know I had a child. He's calling you a child.
She's a miniature adult.
Yes, I have a child, Scott.
Well, hello, Facebook Live.
So what are you going to do in honor of support tonight? What are you going to do for us?
Well, I am going to read the backside of both books of Wolfgang.
And what is the backside of a book called?
I don't know.
A synopsis.
Yes.
Yeah. And Scott says, get that girl a Wolfgang shirt. Well, guess what?
I have a pajama shirt of one. Yes, I do.
There you go. So you're gonna excuse me. I got this horrible cough, but I'm trying to work through it. All right, so you're gonna read the backs of the books for us?
Yeah.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So this is Wolfgang 1, or the first one. So here we go. 16 years have passed since the death of Lord Inquisition, the vampire lord who sought to be human again, defeated by the famous noble lord, Wolfgang. One day after cleansing the surrounding countryside of vampires, Wolfgang returns from his latest expedition only to be faced with the horrible reality that everything he held dear to his heart had been taken from him. His wife is dead, his home is burned, and his son is nowhere to be found. Only the smallest inclination leads him to believe his orphan servant is somehow responsible. He is defiant and provoked, and will do anything to get his son back, even if it means journeying the path of darkness. Thus begins the story of Wolfgang.
Oh, and once you become of age, will you be excited to read this book?
I don't know.
Because you're still too young to read this book. By the way, Wolfgang, this Vampire Hunter series is, I would say, what, 12 plus?
It's 15?
No. I'd say 13 age and up. So you can read this book. So.
With today's kids.
Yeah, so, and then Rick says he's so proud of you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So, you're going to do some more for us? What else are you going to read for us?
I'm going to read the second book, Inquisition, the backside.
And you got Faustus in the background jumping around. So
Yeah.
he's performing for us.
Yes.
He's going to jump to the top. Yep,
Oh.
there he goes. Okay.
He's gonna sit on the other cat.
Okay, so.
Well, he didn't like that.
Blood of the Father, blood of the Son, blood of those dead and gone. After learning the truth about his missing son, Dorian, Tenor Wolfgang is left with unanswered questions. The vampire hunter and his faithful friend, Kronklich, pursue Dorian through forces of darkness. Haunted by the phrase, blood of the Father, Wolfgang wonders what the forces of darkness intend. In a heart-pounding race across the frozen Gothic countryside, Wolfgang seeks answers, stopping at nothing to reach his son before it's too late. Who are the carnal really, and what is their purpose? Continue the gut-wrenching journey of carnage, strife, and suffering in this next installment of the Wolfgang Trilogy, Inquisition.
Ooh, you said that with such command and force. All right. And Scott said you're a great narrator. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Awesome words.
I might have messed up on some words.
You did great. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good.
So, anything else you want to say before you sign off?
Well, I hope you all read the story. I think it would be really good. And, I mean, I like this crow.
You like the eyeball in its mouth?
Yeah.
That's the best part, right? True horror going on here, folks. And a quick shout out to all of our friends at ESD. You guys rock. We did another fun year at doing scaring people, scare acting at the haunt. So we know what true horror is like. So, all right. Well, there we go. Now,
Bye.
hey everybody, how you doing? That's my family, and say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Now we're gonna get serious. Now, I'm gonna go and set up, prepare, and we'll get into the final portion of this event. Okay. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody for showing up tonight and your support. It's been real. Scott Hale, A.F. Stewart, Michaela Morgan, thank you all for coming out and doing your stuff. You all have really great talent. And of course, a super huge thank you to Chrissy Moon for putting this on. Without your help, I wouldn't have been able to get this going and launched. So thank you very much. And what am I doing after this? Well, I have started working on the third book, which I'm not going to release its name yet. You can find out in the book if you get it. It tells you in the back. So hopefully you'll get the book and you'll know what it is. Eventually I'll release the title, when I get closer to releasing the third and final book of the Wolfgang Trilogy. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. I'm gonna place the mic in its proper spot. Okay, get this lined up here, and I'll be with you in about a minute. All right, does the mic sound good? Everybody's good? Still with me? Just give me a thumbs up if everything sounds okay before I start doing this final reading. All right, thanks for that confirmation. Scott, thank you. And hello, Laura. Good to see you. I'm just about to start doing the third final reading of Inquisition. And as I mentioned before, this is chapter 20 that I'm reading from. So this is a little bit later on in the book. This is a prime example of Tenor versus the vampire. And particularly, he's facing off with a carnal Risi, one of the carnal Risi members. I won't go too much into detail about the carnal Risi. That's all covered in the book. And so the last two examples I did in the readings was Tenor versus the environment, Tenor versus the people of the town. And now we're doing the vampire. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Again, thank you for everybody that comes. I'll say a few more words after the reading. I won't stop in between. I'm just going to go right through. Any questions you have or comments you'd like to leave, go for it. And I'm going to go ahead and start now. So get all comfy, have your cup of coffee, your beer, your wine, whatever you're drinking, okay? Chapter 20, Inquisition, by F.D. Gross. The wind stings my face as I am ejected from the side of the train car. Arms out, Enevid in hand, I reach for something, anything, using it like a grappling hook. My momentary flight comes to a jarring halt as I latch onto the side of the train, right where the bars of the railing meet the metal gangway. Inches below, the soles of my boots skim the surface of the tracks rushing by. I struggle to keep them aloft in the fear of having them ripped from my body. The train rattles and bounces. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. I see the cold moon high above. The iron carriage has moved beyond the mountain tunnel and is now barreling along the jagged cliffs of the Cordova Mountains. I try with all my might to pull myself over the railing to safety, but the force of inertia bears down on me. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. The tracks rush by. Wrapping both feet along the bottom bar of the gangway, I use my arms to inch myself forward, battling the fierce wind and snow stinging my face. The cold burns through my gloves. My one hand, blistered and blackened from the dead rain, is stiffening up, seizing almost completely. I curse the night air as I try to hold on by wrapping my arm over the bar. Off in the distance, through the noise of rushing wind and hissing steam, I hear swordplay. Loud, sharp rings echo through my ear. A dark gray regent hat blows past me, nearly hitting me in the face. Kronklich. I ignore the freeze biting through my leather coat and try bringing my legs over the railing. I fail. Looking ahead under the glow of the train lamps, I observe an anomaly in the distance, dark and massive, approaching fast. Excuse me. Again, I try to lift my body over the railing, but it's no use. The force of the train is too great. Wedging myself between the two railing bars, I try another way, exhaling as much as I can, shrinking my torso so the proofing under my coat has the same contour as my body. Tensing my muscles and straining my neck, I push against the bars and exhale even more, just as a large stony mass passes me in the darkness. The wall of the mountainside rushes by, fraying the sleeve of my coat like a grinding salt. Rolling onto my back, I breathe in deep, letting the blood rush back into my extremities. I listen again for the sound of swordplay, but it's stopped. Quickly I rise and run the length of the passenger car's exterior, charging forward with Enevid in hand. I hope it's not too late for Kronklich. His sword won't be enough against Constable, even if the vampire is missing an arm. I stop in the doorway where I last saw Kronklich lying unconscious on the floor, yet it is empty. Standing in solitude, I bob up and down with the cadence of the train. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. Moonlight illuminates my surroundings like an eerie ghost land. The containers of silver and iron glitter. Kronklich, I call out, yet there is no response. I try again. Kronklich! But my attempt is useless. Where could he be gone? Anxiety grows inside me as I leap onto an open container of silver and begin navigating my way from car to car, shifting through mounds of metallic ore, hoping the short gaps from one container to the next. That was hopping the short gaps. Kronklich! My boots grind through mineral as I fight to keep my balance. A sudden stitch in my side reminds me of the wound where Scepter stabbed me. I need to be more aware of my condition, or else I'll bleed out from opening the wound again. What good would I be to those in need of me if I were to die? I dismiss the thought. I have no time to entertain death. Landing on the next train car with a clang, I listen intently, cocking my head to the left and right, trying to make out sound other than the running of the tracks and the chug of the steam engine. I hear the soft sound of creaking metal. The passenger car before me has a door leading into the back of it and two metal gangways that circumnavigate around the exterior. The door swings freely on its hinges, banging against the wall repeatedly. Quickly I advance, thrusting myself into darkness beyond. Moonlight pours in through filthy windows, revealing shredded passenger chairs and couches once covered in fancy fabrics. Tables and cabinets lie on their sides as I move forward, searching behind every shaded corner. Clouds of dust coil low in the shafts of light. Glass crunches under my boots as I move to stand before the door at the far end of the car. Without waiting, I smash the door open with a loud bang and am greeted with outside air again. I come to another passenger car. The howling wind sends snowflakes blowing past my cheeks as I glance around. Realizing there are no walkways to move around the exterior, I am left with the options of going through the back door of the next passenger car or up the rung ladder to the roof. I decide on the door, ruling out the possibility of a one-armed constable ascending the ladder if he could avoid it. The inside is stuffy. It reeks of candles and death. Throughout the center aisle, ghostly images of pale-skinned women stare back at me. Hollow eye sockets, shriveled skin. They do not react to my arrival. Are they real? Clothed in fine dresses, the colors and styles are more than extravagant. Some are elegant. Some are absurd. One of them reminds me of a cross between a peacock and a thrush. Blood drippings run down the front of the dresses, ruining their purity. Only the arms of the body sway to and fro with the ambience of the train. Yet still, they stand erect somehow, and as lifeless as they appear, I approach them cautiously, waiting for them to react to my advance. One by one I pass them, 5 dead girls in all, with their long hair skew and cast to the sides in front of their faces. It isn't until I pass the first one, dressed as a yellowish tart cake, that I realize how they are able to stand. A long wooden pole has been shoved through their bodies, entering through a large gaping hole in the back and emerging out the front of the throat. I back away, startled by the brutality, trying to keep my composure. Searching the passenger car for answers, eyeing the storage shelves above, I pass my hands over chairs, feeling for something. The shelves are lined with burning candles and skulls. Trails of wax drip down in the form of stalactites, making a damp, dark cave of the gruesome scene. I pull at the collar of my coat, relieving the thick energy hovering in the air. I try to make sense of the murdered girls before me. Who would do such a thing? I imagine they too were victims from the festival of the mask. The room is filled with a voice unexpectedly. Aren't they beautiful? Seductive, attractive, and melancholy, the voice is feminine. My spine tingles despite the uncomfortable heat growing underneath my armor. The voice continues, I particularly like the one in crushed red velvet. The stain doesn't show quite as much. Slowly my eyes move to the back of the compartment. There, in the glow of candlelight, perches a thin woman with nut-brown hair on a couch, dressed in a lacy white undergarment. With only half of her body in the light and the other half in shadow, I can somewhat make out that she's holding a woman in a blue dress. Ribbons lace the blonde hair spilling to one side of her bloodied forehead. Eyes missing, gouged out like the rest. The other side of her face is crushed, cave in as if brutally beaten with a cudgel. I know. I wish Scepter were more careful with them, the half-naked woman says, nudging the corpse in her arms in my direction as if I should sympathize with her. She drops the body to the floor with a thud, and her red eyes fix on me. Doesn't matter. Her dress was horrible anyway. Blue is not my color. You're sick, I say, slowly maneuvering my feet into a ready position. No, I'm Constilla, one of the 6 carnal risi. She pauses. No, that's not right. Let me correct myself. 5, Cardinal Risi. You killed Caesar. Constilla glares at me like a piece of meat. Even now, as she climbs off the couch, white fangs extend slowly from her lips. How did you do it? She asks. It's impossible to kill us. Our power comes from the one, blood of the Father. Blood of the Father. Again? The words haunt me, tease me. I want to answer her, but I'm inflicted with the purest hatred towards the Cardinal Risi in every way. Constilla has desecrated these innocent women, defiled them in unspeakable ways. How could you? I pause, shaking with anger. I can't even finish my question. What else could I do? She continues. Scepter wanted their spines, and I needed them to model my dresses. She smiles. My collection is to die for. I cannot comprehend the reasoning behind this monstrous beast's action. No remorse, no feeling. I throw Enivid with rage. Disgust fills me unlike ever before. I remember my dead wife and the disappearance of my son, but my actions are sloppy, and as the 4-pointed blade spins its way towards Constilla, she leaps into the air, flipping her body upside down, and clings to the ceiling with long black talons. Her fingers and toes are no longer present. Enivid comes back to me as Constilla spiders across the ceiling, staying in the shadows of the candlelight. I watch her scramble toward me as dark lines spread across her pale cheeks. Within the shadow, her eyes glow red, hovering as if suspended in air. I throw my blade again and she maneuvers out of the way, springing down from ceiling just as the blade skims off the metal roof. There is a flash of light, then sparks, and I am forced to the ground. I hear Enivid skim across the floor as the long talons try penetrating the proofing hidden under my coat. For such a small vampire, Constilla's power is great. Her weight is heavy as she pins me to the floor, her fleshy white breasts in my face, her sickening smile revealing more than 2 sharp fangs. Her mouth is full of razor-sharp teeth. Pieces of skin and cartilage hang loosely between them. You have a pretty face, she says. Yours would be a nice addition to my collection. You can model my husband Constable's clothes for me. Have you met him? She retracts one of her claws from her chest and brings it before my face. Of course, those eyes won't do. She thrusts down with her black talons, denting the metal floor as I turn my head at the last second. Again she strikes, missing my face and nicking my hair. I hear frustration in her throat. Quit squirming around like that, like a worm. She tries again, but her thrust ends with one of my daggers through her hand. Blood spurts across my face as I roll away. She tries to grab me with one of her spider-like legs, but misses, knocking over a dead girl in a cream dress. I tuck my body between 2 chairs, using them as an obstacle to slow Constilla down. One by one, she begins ripping the couches from their foundations, sending nails flying and tearing holes in the floor. The clacking noise of the tracks become louder, and the whistling of wind invades the interior of the passenger cars. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. Don't try to hide from me, worm. Come out and squirm around a bit. The chair in front of me suddenly launches into the air and slams into the ceiling above, cracking the roof and knocking over candles in the storage compartments. The pressure in my ears suddenly increased, forcing me to swallow back the sharp pain at the back of my jaw. Freezing wind whips through the passenger car, wailing like a ghost, blowing out the remaining candles. Suddenly, it is totally dark inside. I scramble across the center aisle, ducking between more couches, but something ensnares my leg. One of Constilla's claws. Both chairs on either side of me rip from their foundations as she positions her body over me like a fly caught in a web. Naughty, naughty worm. The scent of her decayed breath hovers around me like a cloud, finding its way into my nostrils, forcing me to gag. She tosses me by the leg, sending me through the air like a puppet. I slam into the back of the train car, feeling my brain rattle. The stitch at my side burns like fire. Sore, bruised, and disoriented, I try to collect myself while watching Constilla scramble across the ceiling toward me, the claws on her hands and feet tapping against the metal roof like pelting rain. Some hunter you are, she says, all soft and no resilience. You're not proving to be much fun at all. Constilla mocks me as if I am her personal plaything, waiting to be eaten. If I am to beat her, the odds need to be in my favor. Finding myself trapped in this train car is making it that much harder. I need to escape, or I will die. It's that simple. Her talons continue to tap against the metal as she approaches nearer and nearer. My eyes desperately search for Enivid, but I can't see it in the lingering darkness. Only a few swirls of smoke illuminate through the pale moonlight shining through the windows. I see Constilla's eyes getting closer. Through the blackness, as if someone or something were watching over me, a sliver of light appears in the distance like a dancing orb. It glints with the reflection of steel. "Ah, poor little worm," comes Constilla's steamy breath directly above me. "You're scared, aren't you? I can sense it. Allow me to comfort you." She turns me around to face her, to look into those horrible blood-red eyes, growing bigger as she lowers her head. I watch her face spread into a grin, and then the razor fangs begin to show. "A kiss from my lips will bestow you everlasting life." I would sooner die. Pulling the dagger from my belt, I plunge it deep into one of her eye sockets, then the other. She screams in a fit of rage. Blood gushes onto the floor as her arms flail about, batting me away from her and making me abandon my dagger, still lodged in her face. "What did you do to me? I can't see!" Now is my chance. I dive forward as I feel the rush of air pass my body. Landing on my side, I pull myself forward on elbows and knees, reaching until I feel the metal and leather in my hand. "I'm going to kill you! I'm going to kill you!" She screams. Constilla screams behind me. Malice sees through her mouth with every passing word. She is enraged and unpredictable and blocks the way I entered the passenger car. Doubling back, I dash down the center aisles, passing the bodies modeling Constilla's dresses, and finally reach the other end of the passenger car. I try the handle, but it doesn't budge. Turning around, I watch Constilla thrash about the interior, hair tossing back and forth, blood spattering the windows and walls. Quickly scanning the room, I see my only option to escape is through a window, but I'm not sure my strength is enough to break through. The windows are made to withstand the extreme cold and gale-force winds while the iron carriage makes its way through the mountains. I lift one of the upturned passenger chairs and throw it awkwardly at the window, but it bounces off pathetically. Constilla begins making her way toward me, sniffing the air with snorts from her nose and slicing the atmosphere with her long claws. "I'm going to kill you, then drink you, then eat you. Slowly I will suck the tender marrow from your bones down to every last drop. There will be no sharing." She laughs hideously. I lift another chair to throw at the glass, and that's when I notice the bent panel on the floor, peeled away like the flesh from a fruit. The chair's Constilla uprooted left large gaps in the metal ground. Securing Enivid to my side, I crouch and begin pushing and pulling on the damaged metal in every direction possible. More air fills the passenger car from outside. Wind whips at my face, blowing my hair about wildly. "What's that sound? What are you doing?" I hear Constilla's claw tapping closer. "You're leaving? No, you can't leave!" In a final attempt, I push on the piece of metal flap with all my might, creating a large enough hole for my body to fit through. The tracks below rush by. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. Gripping the edges of the torn metal, I hear claws scraping toward me as I drop through the gap. The jagged edges cut into my gloves while I strain my body to keep my legs from touching the ground. The stitch at my side aches as I struggle to swing my legs up to grapple the bars running along the underside of the train. Ta-ta, ta-ta, ta-ta. Long black claws plunge through the gaping hole, trying to grab a hold of something, anything, me. I hear Constilla shouting with frustration from inside the train. "Nyah! Just wait till I sink my fingers into you, worm." There is a loud thumping against the inside. I need to move fast, but navigating the underside of the train is no simple task. The way is riddled with bars connecting to other bars in multiple directions. I can hear the loud hum of the electrical conduits channeling their energy to the lamps on the top side of the train. Suddenly, a black talon bursts through the floor just inches from my leg. Hand over hand and blood pressure rising, I start sliding my way along the bars like an insect. I hear Constilla's frustrated voice muffled in the distance, but I can hear it distinctly through the roar of the wind. "Mist? You must be right here!" Another talon pierces the metal close by. I wonder how she's judging my location. Sound? Vibration? I place my hands on another bar and strain as I transition to the next, feeling the burn in my core and the wound at my side. There is a cracking and grinding just above my head, and I pull myself to the side as the metal floor breaks apart again. Not one hand, but two rip through. Constilla is laughing at me. Her hands grip the sides of the freshly torn portal and begin pulling two plates back with amazing strength. I watch as her face bends closer and closer to the opening. The mangled gore where her eyes used to be press against the frayed edges of the opening. "Is that you, worm? Is it? I smell you're close. I can taste your fear." A large purplish tongue protrudes between her sharp fangs, lapping the sides of the hole like a snake slithering through the jagged rocks. I can do nothing as it passes over my face, touching the gashes below my eye and lapping my ear. "Ah, there you are, worm. Blood of the Father." There is nothing I can do while I hold the bar. If I let go, I will become mangled in the wheels of the iron carriage. "Time to end this little game," says Constilla in a hoarse voice. Unable to move back, I watch as she reaches with one of her arms to pluck me from the underside of the train. A loud steam whistle suddenly blares somewhere in the distance towards the front of the train. It resonates loud and long, echoing down the mountainside. Constilla's hand stops. "What is this?" Her voice is a crackle from above. "Not now! Not now!" she screams. Constilla's hand retracts through the hole and out of sight. I am left holding on for life, alone and hovering just above the rushing tracks of death. My mind races at the thought of old man Dora pulling the whistle cord to distract the Colonel Reese. But did he know where on the train, and was it even him? My thoughts jump to Kronklich. Maybe he managed to find his way to the front of the train and rescue Dora, and was now signaling me to come. Regardless of its origin, the whistle altered Constilla's course of action, and not necessarily for the better. Slowly, methodically, I begin making my way forward, one iron bar at a time. The cold wind slices through me like a knife, but I don't care. I need to get to my comrades and stop the Colonel Reese with their hellish plan. Sliding my legs along the freezing cold bars, I make my way toward the front of the train, slowly, yet surely. With Constilla well on her way, it is a race now to the front of the train. Constilla versus me. I need to get to my comrades before she does. End chapter. All right, there we go. Bit of a long read for you, but nonetheless a read. Chapter 20 taken from Inquisition. That's my present to everybody. For those of you still watching, thank you again for staying on and checking out, coming to this event. Here I am. Hello. Back again. So there we go. It's been a great event. Thank you for everybody that showed up at the event for the reading. All the authors that came. Chrissy Moon, thank you very much. Janice, thank you very much. Scott Hale, thank you very much. A.F. Stewart, thank you very much. Michaela Morgan, thank you very much. You guys are all awesome. I'll just follow up with a quick little post to end this event for tonight. If anybody has anything else they want to say, go for it. If not, that's it. Check out my book. It's out. You can find it on Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble. It's distributed through Ingham Spark, so you can order the book pretty much from any bookstore. There's ebooks out there as well. If you haven't done so, you could still have your chance to enter the grand prize drawing. And most importantly, if you want to stay up to date on my work, the best portal to go to is wolfgangchronicles.com. Follow me on Amazon, my author page, and I'm on Goodreads and Instagram and all those fun social media things. So check those out. Again, thank you for coming. Get it out now, Inquisition. Thank you to my lovely family. Deanna, thank you for your kind words. And London, thank you for reading those brilliant synopsises of both books. That was great. Thank you, you both. I love the support that you guys give me. I wouldn't be here. Couldn't do these kind of things without you guys. So, and everybody else that's watching and that came to the event, and anybody else who ever might explore my work. And you never know what you're going to find in the vampire hunting world. So, check it out. The Wolfgang Trilogy, Inquisition, Book 2, and this is it again. And that's it. So thank you for coming. Hope to see you and talk to you soon. Bye.